Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and I hope you guys are doing well. I know it's been quite a while since I last released a how to build an app video, but I do have a reason, and that reason is because I've been preparing a new series for you guys to learn how to build iOS apps. And so obviously, if you know how to read the title of the video, we're going to learn how to build the YouTube application for iOS. All right, so without further ado, let me just give you a quick demo of what we will be building by looking at the actual app in the simulator right here. Now, what you see is very similar to the YouTube application that you use to watch YouTube videos, obviously. And you notice that as I slide up and down, we get this nice little feature where the nav bar kind of hides itself. And then you have the home feed with the videos, and you have some sections for trending, subscription, and whatnot. So what happens when you click into one of these videos? So I click in here, and you notice how you get the animation that slides the video into the screen right here. And so this is obviously not a video of Taylor Swift because I don't have the copyrights to that video. Don't want to get into that whole world of legalese. But I have this 29 second clip of me in Taiwan from my vacation I just had. And it basically has a progress, duration, and this minimize button, and also this play button right here, along with the details for the video that we just clicked into, such as related videos, and then this comment section down below. Pretty cool stuff. And these two buttons right here don't do much, but they're just there to kind of hang around and look cool. Now, one thing that is cool about this UI is when you drag this video down, you get this really cool animation where this alpha value goes down while the video itself shrinks, and you can also slide up and down the collection view in behind. So really cool stuff. YouTube did a tremendous job in implementing all this UI and having it all work, and it just works perfectly from my usage of the app on my phone. Now, having said all of that, let's kind of take a step back and kind of think about how we want to build out this application, right? So a lot of good UI, a lot of functionality, features, and it's a bit overwhelming if you try to build this application and you don't know where to start. So I went ahead and created a diagram, is what I'm going to call it. And so inside of Photoshop, I have this step-by-step kind of guide on how I'm going to teach you guys how to build this application. So this little red cell image right here is the very first step that we're going to try to get to. And hopefully we will be able to get to the layout of all of these video thumbnail cells. And let's see, we get the nav bar changed to red, getting the menu up here, which is a custom menu. And then at the very end, we'll have this functionality that allows us to hide the navigation bar when we slide up the collection view, or slide down rather. And so let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet. And let's start by building this very first screen, which is a collection view and a nav bar at the very top. Okay, a lot of good stuff. And let's begin by creating an application using Xcode. So I'm just going to hit Command-Shift-N and get this single view application here. I'm going to call it YouTube. Surprise, surprise, it's a YouTube application called YouTube. And I am going to change the simulator to iPhone 6s like we always do in these video tutorials. And I'm just going to wait for this to load back here. And Command-3 to shrink it down to a smaller size, easier to work with. And drag this over here, give myself some space to start typing out the code for you guys. And one thing I'm going to do is go into this view controller file, remove this code that we don't really need, and start getting rid of this comment over there. And now, let's see, how do I want to explain this? So basically, storyboards are pretty good, but in my experience, they actually get in the way when you want to implement custom views. It gets really difficult to coerce the storyboard and its constraints to make it do what you want to do. And essentially, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to use storyboard, and the way to get your application to not use a storyboard and to do everything in code is very simple, and it's actually very makes your code really, really flexible in terms of what you want to accomplish. So the way to do that is to actually set the window yourself manually by calling window equals UI window, and frame cgrect is UI screen. Let's see, UI screen dot main screen dot bounds, and then you need to actually make the window visible by using make key invisible. And then here you actually need to set the root view controller to something. So that something is this navigation controller, which you provide it with a root view controller. And root view controller is just a view controller instantiated like that. And this view controller actually, so command click, corresponds to this view controller file here. And this is what we get. So if I just set the view background color to UI color red color, I'm gonna run this application now, and you'll see that we have our navigation bar at the very top, and then we have the red view controller right here. It's pretty good stuff. And now we have a basis as a starting point of how we want to build out this collection view right there. So the trick to building out a collection view controller is actually subclass view controller as UI collection view controller. And this comes with this nice collection view that we can use. And we have to specify how many cells we want to return and what type of cells we want to render. So I am going to first, let me just rename this as home controller. So this is the home screen, and I actually need to rename that to home controller. And so if I run this application now, it's going to crash. And the reason is because it's going to tell me right here. So I'm going to drag this up, drag this over, and down here it says that I need to initialize this collection view with a non-nil layout parameter. So with UI collection view, we need to actually provide UI collection view layout like this. So layout, and we need to provide it with a layout. So what is this layout? Essentially, it's a UI collection view flow layout like that, and paren, and provide it as the layout like this. So I'll run this application now, and then we get this actual collection view showing up right here. So what is this black screen? Essentially, that black screen is this collection view right here. And collection view defaults to a black color background. So I'm going to change it to white like that. And then run the application again. We'll get a white screen with a nav bar at the top. And I'm going to change this title to say home, like what we have in the diagram here. And run the application one more time, and we get the home title. So I am going through a lot of this stuff pretty fast, and hopefully you guys are able to follow along. But I'm trying to aim for perhaps 25 minutes for this video. Probably going to go over, but so be it. All right, having said that, let's go ahead and implement the number of items we see in the collection view. So number of items, like this. And we're just going to return 5 for now. And so if I run this application now, it's going to crash. And so I'm showing you guys the crashes here just so you guys get a feel for how actual implementation of code works. So it's saying that did not return a valid cell for this collection view. Essentially, you need to also implement this cell for item method right here, and we need to return a cell. So we need to return this cell object here, right? So what is this cell that we need to get? Essentially, cell needs to be dequeued from the collection view like this with a string identifier like that, and index path is just this variable from this method here. And so I've run this application now, it'll crash again. And that's because we haven't actually registered this cell under this ID of cell ID. So I'm going to do that right now and register class. Let's see, register class with cell ID, and this will for now be collection view cell. I need to add a .self at the end for the class, and then this will be that same cell ID that we get down here. So if I run this application now, you're not going to be able to see a change, but it's not going to crash. So you see this white screen right here, And you might think that you are seeing nothing, but actually you are seeing invisible cells. And if I change the cell color to red color, you will see the actual cells being rendered 50 by 50 pixels inside of this entire collection view here. So I see one warning down here. It says unknown class in interface builder file. And this interface builder file called main.storyboard is what it's complaining about. And so to get rid of that warning, we go here and we get rid of that main down there. And then we run again and the warning will magically disappear. So pretty good. So back to the diagram, we want to render cells that are widthwise all of the view. And we want to pretty much have like 200 pixels in terms of height for each cell. Oh, and the way to do that is to actually provide a size for each one of these cells. And so to do that, we have to conform to this UICollectionView delegate flow layout. And then we will provide size for item like this and return a, let's see, return CG size, make view frame width, and let's say height of 200. So I'll run that. You'll see that cells will expand from left edge to right edge and then have a height of 200. Pretty good, right? Oh. And now, so we're done with step 1 already. That wasn't so bad. And we want to actually implement step 2. And this is pretty much a layout that is the video cell layout. Basically has a thumbnail image view, profile image view, a title for the video, and then this little subtitle label down at the bottom. So first, before we can establish all of these UI elements, we have to actually lay it out like this second image right here. And I'm going to do that all in code. So the way to do all of the layout is actually implement a custom cell like this. So class, let's do video cell, and this has a superclass of video cell. Let me just get some spaces down here. And video cell has to actually override this init method with frame, super.init frame we'll call. And then it has a compile error right here. Let me just double click to fix that. I'm gonna do one more thing before I start talking about what is going on here. So I'm gonna add this function called setup views where I actually execute some like add sub view methods like that. I'm gonna comment that out for now. And essentially every time we call DQ reusable cell, it actually calls this init with frame method if it needs a new cell. So basically it calls this setup views method. And what I'm going to do is I am going to actually get rid of this red color. So it's no longer red. I'm going to register this video cell instead of that collection view cell. And to prove to you that all of this is working properly, I'm going to set this background color of each cell to blue. Run the application again, we have blue cells instead of red cells. So that's how it works. And I'm going to go ahead and implement this image view up here, which is the video image. And I'm going to do that all in code very easily by saying let thumbnail image view of type image view equal this bracket business here. And inside here, we'll create this image view. And we'll return this image view like this and execute this block and then return that image view, setting this variable to whatever's inside. Whew. And now I can actually set this image view background color to blue, like so. And then to get this image view to show up, I need to add it into the cell's subview hierarchy by actually using thumbnail image view. If I just set this image view frame to rect of 0, 0, 100, 100, you'll start seeing this image view show up inside of your collection view cells. So this is what it looks like. And what we want to actually get is we want to have 16 pixels of padding from the left, right, top, and for now we also have 16 on the bottom. And the easiest way of doing that is to actually use the auto layout system for iOS. And this makes your application very adaptable to multiple screen sizes such as a 6 Plus or an iPad. All right, so how do we use auto layout constraints? And easiest way to do that, or easiest way to show you guys, is just to type it out and then explain to you what is going on. So use this add constraints method here, and we use NSLayout constraint with constraints with visual format, and visual format will be this right here. I'm just gonna type it out. So 16 and let's see 16 and pipe. So I'm gonna get rid of the file navigation menu, and we have a little bit more space. So 16, what is NSLayout format options? So format options, paren, metrics is nil, and views is this dictionary where v0 is this thumbnail image view like that. And then so I can actually get rid of this frame business down here, and I'm going to copy and paste this one more time and explain to you what is going on. So so for you guys that are kind of familiar with my video tutorials, this is going to say for the horizontal axes, I'm going to be 16 pixels from the left and then 16 pixels from the right, and whatever's in between will just span that entire space left over. And the same goes for the vertical axis from top and bottom. And now the one thing that I have to do before all of this works is I have to set this property called translates auto resizing mask into constraints to false. I'm gonna run this application, and you see that the blue image view is kind of inside of the cell, and there's a little bit of spacing down here. So I'm gonna get rid of that spacing by going back to my home controller, and in here I'm going to use minimum line spacing. Just type that out right there. So you see minimum line spacing for a section. Let's return 0. And that's going to eliminate the extra space that you see between each one of these cells. So now you see you have 16 right here, and then you have 16 on the top. So in total is 32 pixels right there. So pretty good, pretty good. Now I'm going to add this separator line in between. So this huge thick line in between each cell, just to distinguish all of these cells from each other. So I'm going to create this separator view. Let's see, UI view is this thing right here called view equals view view.background color equals UI color dot black color. Return this view and execute this block. It gives me this view down here. So I'm going to add this subview, separator view, and so I'm going to do a couple of things here, right? So I am going to copy and paste this entire bit right here, and I am going to get rid of these 16 pixels on the left and right, and I'm going to get rid of 16 pixels from the left, 16 pixels from the right, and I'm going to get rid of this left pipe as well, and I'm going to use a paren. Basically this is saying, let's see, separator view, I'm going to use separator view. So separator view is going to span left and right from left edge to right edge, and vertically it's going to be 1 pixel tall by this value here, and it's going to touch the bottom edge and not touch the top edge. So let's run that, and let's see what we get. So I think I am missing this business here. So view.translates is false. So this warning just complaining about the constraints right there. And so now we get this blue line right here, and let's just change this to black color, and we should be good to go. So I'm going to look at this diagram, and looks pretty solid. And now we need to go ahead and implement this little profile image view on the bottom. Cool, a lot of good code here, and hopefully you guys are understanding how easy it is to actually not use a storyboard and just add things through code. It's really easy to modify these constraints as well, where you don't have to touch the storyboard and edit these strange layout parameters. Anyhow, one thing I want to do before I add the profile image view is to actually eliminate all of this redundancy code here. You see that this is being added 4 times. You see this nil thing right here, and I can actually improve this by getting rid of this right here and say this right here. So if I just have let's see, v1, 1 here, and then I can just add, let's see, what is v1? Well, v1 is this separator view here. And if I run this application again, we get exactly the same view. Yeah, so, there's a lot of cleanup here, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how to clean up all of this code. And to very easily make this more readable to a human like me is actually create an extension on view. So let's just call extension UIView, and I'm going to create this function called add constraints with format, and that's going to take that visual format string like this, and then it's going to take a variable length array of UIViews. All right, so essentially, let me just use this use this guy as an example. So example right here, and I basically want to add format. So I want to shrink all of this code into just these little 2 strings like this, and I want to actually see thumbnail, image view, separator view. So I'm going to shrink all this, and I'm going to replace it with this here. So how do I do that? And if you watch my previous videos, you already know how. So I'm going to go ahead and show some of you guys how this is done. At the risk of, some of you guys seeing this already, I'm going to do it anyways. And let's see, how do we want to do this? So I'm going to take this entire string, or that entire function call right there. I'm going to paste it in here. And here's what I'm going to do. This visual format is going to use this format string over there. And then I need to actually create this views dictionary for all of these variable views inside of this. Let's see, views array right there. And basically I need this variable called a views dictionary that I'm going to create right here. So views, if I can type this out correctly, views dictionary equals a string to UIView dictionary like so. And I'm going to loop through these views right here with an index and a view variable for each view inside of views.enumerate like so. And I'm going to create a key called key, obviously, and let's just call this v. And this is a string interpolation with index being used as the inside value right there. So for v0, for the 0th view, 0 index view inside of the views, we'll have 0, and this is a view0 key, and we'll say views dictionary key is equal to this view object that we get inside of here. So pretty good. And so now that I have all of this implementation done, I'm going to comment that out, and this essentially replaces all of that. And I'm going to run this one more time and show you that I am not lying. And so you see everything is still the same. We get the spacing of 16 pixels and this proper line showing up at the very bottom. And so I can get rid of this whole commented line there. And then to replace this line right here is very easy by adding constraints with format again. And then I'm going to use the 16, v0, 16, pipe, and thumbnail image view. And that looks pretty good. So I also want to, so let's see, get rid of that. And I'm just going to copy and paste this line right here to replace this bottom one. Separator view. And this format will be this edge to edge horizontal constraint like that. Get rid of that. And I'm going to delete that. Run this one more time. And you'll see that we have accomplished what we did with the huge mess of constraints. And everything now looks really neatly compacted into a couple of parameters without redundantly specifying these 2 parameters down there. Cool. Now, one other thing we can get rid of is this translates AutoResizing Mask bit. And basically, I'm going to say view equals false like that. And then every time I specify this false, value, and just get rid of it. And it's basically going to be set inside of this function call like this. So a lot of good stuff, eliminated a lot of unnecessary code, and we're now ready to move on to adding this user profile image view. In other words, this green block on the bottom left. Now I am going to create this user profile image view. See UI image view, and then I'm going to just copy and paste this here, that there, and then let me just create green color. Good. So we need to add it into the subview hierarchy with user profile image view, and we want to add it to the very bottom left down here. So what do we need to know? So what we know about this block is it's 44 pixels wide and 44 pixels tall. That's an arbitrary value, but that's what it is. And it's 8 pixels from the, it's 8 pixels below the thumbnail image view, and then it has some perhaps like 16 pixels below this green box right here. So let's go ahead and type that inside of this vertical constraint down here. So I am going to, so these are the vertical constraints right here, and I'm going to modify this constraint to actually do this. So to get 8 pixels from this V0, this thumbnail image view, I'm going to say -8, and then I'm going to say V1 and 44 pixels tall, and then down here it's 16 pixels from that separator line is what this is saying. So we need to change this to V2, and inside of this array we'll say V1 is this user profile image view, comma, and then we need to specify 16 pixels from the horizontal left and then 44 pixels wide. So a lot of stuff to type out, but it's actually not too hard if we just type it out. So format, add constraints with format, horizontal axes, 16 pixels from the left, and then V0 is 44 pixels wide with a view of user profile image view. And then I'm going to run the application and see where that lands me. So that's pretty good. We get 8 pixels from the top image thumbnail view, and then we have pretty much 16 on the left and 16 on the bottom. So pretty good, and kind of getting very close to what we need to actually have for the video layout. All right, now the remaining two views we have to implement is this title label and then the subtitle text view is what I am calling it. So let's go ahead and add this, let's see, title label. Let's see, and let's just create this label, UI label, label that background color is UI color. Let me see, what did I, okay, purple color. And let's just return this label here, execute this block, get this label back, and then we need to add this subview into the hierarchy like this. And then we need to do something a little bit differently. So I'll run this and you'll see that nothing actually happens because I haven't specified the constraints for the title label. So pretty good. Now, one thing I want to do is something a little different, and I'm going to add these this view here with a different style of constraints. So what I mean is I'm not going to use add constraints with format. So I'm going to set this manually right now, and I'm going to add this view in with constraints that are going to say this. Purple view is underneath the blue view by 8 pixels, and it's to the right of this green view by 8 pixels, and then it's matching the right of the thumbnail view, and it has a height of roughly 20 pixels. So a lot of stuff that I just said, and I'm just going to implement the top constraint like this. So the reason why I'm doing this is because sometimes what will happen is you have this label that is actually taller than just one line, and you have to account for how tall it is so that you can move the bottom subtitle label couple of pixels down further. Otherwise, they'll overlap and the UI doesn't look as clean. It's pretty ugly in my opinion. So let's go ahead and implement this top constraint so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And I can see that I'm already running over time, so I'm going to do this as quickly as I can. So I'm going to use this add constraint method without the plural constraints. So add constraint, and I'm going to use NS layout constraint, and this needs to be item, and this will be title label, like so. Attribute will be, so the top of the title label will be related by equal, pretty much always equal. And what is this toItem? toItem is going to be this thumbnail image view right here, and the attribute is actually bottom, and multiplier is 1 and constant is 8. All right, so let's see. How can I show you what is going on right now? So if I just add constraint with format and use, let's see, vertical, and the V0 is 20 pixels, and let's just use title label right here. And let me see, so add constraints with format again, and I'm just gonna type this out just to make sure it shows up properly. And title label. So what is this going to do? It's going to say title label is underneath the thumbnail image view by 8 pixels by this constraint right here, this top constraint. And then it's 20 pixels tall by this constraint here, and then it spans horizontally like so. So that's already getting pretty close to what we want to achieve. And we'll just add this left constraint here by using the add constraint, and it's layout constraint, item, title label, and the left of the title label is right here, equal, and toItem is the user profile image view this time. And then the attribute will be the right of it, multiplier 1 and 8 pixels like that. So I actually have to get rid of this horizontal constraint. And so I'm going to add the right constraint right now. So right constraint, add constraint, and it's layout constraint, item, title label, and the right of the title label will be aligned with the thumbnail image view. And then the attribute is actually the right of the thumbnail image view, multiplier 1 and constant of 0. So if I try to run that now, I think it's getting pretty close to what I want to achieve here. So that's pretty good. And one more constraint I want to actually add is this height constraint. I'm going to show you guys how to do that right here. So it's important that I add this constraint like this, because later on I actually want to modify how tall that label is. So I'm going to go ahead and do that while we're in this area right here. So title label, attribute height related by equals. This object can be self, doesn't actually matter what this is, could be anything. And the attribute will be height, multiplier is actually 0, height of 20. So that takes care of this last height constraint. Let's see, and there we go. So let me do one final bit of exercise right here by creating this subtitle label. Actually, I think it's a text view. UI text view is, so let text view equals UI text view, and it's going to return this text view like so. Execute the block, and let's see, text view that background color. What am I saying? It is, I think I call it red. So UI color dot red color, and let's add it to the subview. Subtitle text view like that, pretty good. So let me get rid of these spaces down here. And basically, I want to add these constraints for the subtitle label very similarly to the title label. And that way, every time I change the height of this purple block right here, the red one will just go down automatically. All right. Let's see. So the way to do that is to actually, I'm just going to copy and paste all this code down here, and then replace all this with the subtitle text view. And let's see, subtitle text view, Then the top of the subtitle text view will actually be the bottom of the title label. And then I have some other stuff with, let's see, 20, I guess this, perhaps I'll just run that and see what we get. Okay, it looks like I'm missing this translate business. And set that to false and run the application again. I would assume that my views are correct. All right. So having done all of that, we have gotten to a state in which we can start setting up our views with the actual assets that we want to include. So what I mean is, let me just bring the assets or this file browser back. And if I bring this image right here, so basically I have Finder down here, I just dragged in this blank space image into the assets catalog. And let me just get the name right here by copying. And then I want to actually set the image of this thumbnail image view to that asset. So ImageView.image equals UI image named that. And if I run this application now, it'll show the image for the Taylor Swift file. So it looks a little wonky, and basically we're going to fix it in the next video and show this exact layout with all of the assets being included, and then the title label showing the correct bit of text. All right, that was a lot of work, but I think that pretty much wraps up this video for today. And in the next video, we'll move on and progress slowly towards the entire implementation of the YouTube application, so that you can kind of see how an application is built programmatically, and so not so much using a storyboard. So hopefully you learned a lot this episode. And stick around, hit that like button, and subscribe if you want to keep following this interesting series of tutorials. All right, so before I end this video right here, I just want to quickly announce just one thing that I've started recently. And basically, if you go to meetup.com, you can look for a meetup that I'm organizing right now in the San Francisco area. It's called SF iOS App Builders, I believe. And I'll include a link in the description below. And basically, if you are in the Bay Area and you want to participate and be a member of my group, feel free to join and come to some of the meetups I'm organizing in San Francisco. It's going to be about sort of similar to this video on how to build some apps live, where I actually code in person. And if you want to ask me questions live during that, feel free to come and enjoy what I present to you at these meetup events. So that's basically it, and hope you guys find that helpful. If you're not in the Bay Area, well, maybe you can fly in from wherever country you are at and join my event if it's possible for you. So that's all I wanted to tell you guys today, and hope you guys keep watching and subscribe, like. Really enjoy the feedback I'm getting so far. A lot of good support, and appreciate all the kind words that you guys are sending my way. So thanks for all of that, and have a good day. Bye-bye.